Actually, public hearing first. Public
Right.
hearing.
Oh, yes, sorry. Have to go to the public hearing first to consider amendments to the municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw regarding automotive mechanical repair uses in rural centers and home occupations. I'm going to ask the CAO to speak on that.
I'll speak very briefly, and then if there's people from the public who wish to express their opinion or their comments on it, then it's actually their time. First thing, and you've seen this, council, you've seen the amendments to the automotive mechanical repair home occupations. Some of you are members of the PAC, so you're intimately familiar with the change. It is a relaxation of regulations around that industry. It will eliminate the automotive mechanical repair home occupation from the LI zone, the light industrial zone. So I'll read the conclusion briefly. To enable automotive mechanical repair uses in the rural center mixed-use zone and to ensure home occupation scale automotive repair uses are enabled to expand appropriately in conformity with provisions for larger scale uses, it is necessary to include revisions to exclude mechanical repair uses from the requirements of light industrial. So we are enabling home occupation scale automotive mechanical repair uses in the rural center mixed use zone to expand, and for bylaw continuity for home occupation and larger scale automotive mechanical repair uses in coastal community general use or general use zone. So there are amendments to the municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw that are required in order to actually exempt this repair use from the light industrial zone. It will, for new home occupation automotive repair uses, to be required to meet the following requirements: a minimum of 4 parking spaces for buildings up to 500 square feet in total building floor area, 1 additional parking space for each 200 square foot of net commercial floor area, up to a maximum of 8 for a 1,000 square foot building. So that's saying, okay, we're going to lighten up the rules around automotive repair. However, we want to ensure that any sort of development in this area allows for parking provisions, screening to be required where parking or outdoor storage is required or provided in a side yard, and all building and lot lighting to be directed away from abutting and adjacent residential, recreation, institutional uses. So that is basically a summary of the changes that you have you've had the chance to review. Also, there are planning strategy amendments that reflect the same changes. So actually both documents are being changed, both the municipal planning strategy and the land use bylaw. Because we're changing both, we had a public participation meeting, and in that public participation meeting we did not have any participation from the public, although we did have concerns that were called in at the time. There was a little confusion around whether or not somebody that's tinkering in their garage would be allowed to continue to do so, and we were very clear that these provisions are not restricting that in any way. It is for home-based occupational home repair, not for somebody that's changing oil here and there in their garage or doing that for friends. That's not really that we're not looking to change the rules for that. In fact, that's completely allowable. And so that was a concern that was expressed at the time, and the PAC, of course, had discussions around that. But at this point, I will stop talking and engage the public. If the public wishes to, well, bring it back to you, Warden, to
Yes.
see if the public had something to say in this regard.
Yeah. Thank you, Alain. Murphy, you had something to say?
No, it's just that once you're done, Mr. Warden, if there's no public
Yeah, okay.
consultation on this,
Yeah.
I'd like to
Yeah.
move this motion.
Is there anybody?
Yes.
Yes, Chairman
Yes,
Seaman?
I,
You want,
the PAC.
yeah.
Okay. Being a member of the PAC, I was in on this, and I agreed with it in principle. I just had a little problem with the parking issue, and I just wanted to bring it to full council's attention. As it stands right now, and Alan was explaining about the parking, if it is based on your square footage of your building right now. So if you start off with a little two-bay garage or whatever, and you are required with the square footage to have your 8 parking spots or whatever, okay, that is fine. But I had mentioned if you make an addition to your building, like for other use, say I had my boat and motor outdoors covered with a tarp and my four-wheeler and ride-on lawnmower and all that, and I decide I want to add on to the building so that I can put it inside under cover, then it is getting up there. Now I'm required to have 4 more parking places, which now brings me up to 12. If next year I get up there and I decide that I want to add on to the building maybe and put an indoor swimming pool or something, now I've increased the square footage of the building again, and now I am required to have 16 parking places instead of the original 8. So I just feel that it is discriminating against other uses for the building because it is going by the square footage. Now, if you get up there and you have your original 2-bay garage and then you decide that you want to add a 3rd bay on, then absolutely, then you should require the extra parking spaces. But for other uses, I don't feel that the parking spaces are required for that reason.
So, I'm not sure if I understand the whole thing, but if you add on for
Other uses.
other uses, it doesn't require you to,
Yes, the way the bylaw states right now,
Yes.
it goes by the square footage of the building.
yes.
So
Regardless
if
what
you
you use
added
it
to
for.
the square footage, you would require more
Yeah.
parking spots.
Yeah.
You have never increased the potential of your business, your productivity or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
from what you originally started with.
Yes.
But you do require to increase your parking.
Mm-hmm.
So, it just didn't make sense to me. I agree with this change
Yeah.
in principle, but I just want to see that we get it right the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
If, if I may, it certainly to George Eamon's point, there is, it doesn't it's certainly true what he's saying in terms of that it is based on the square footage. I think it suggests, and I'm using that word because that's how I would interpret it, perhaps the interpretation is different, it suggests that regardless of its use, if it was at some point automotive or continues to be automotive in some way, the fact that George Eamon has raised this could be a valid point. It is not explicitly stated in this document that the square footage is attached directly to automotive, although maybe suggestive, it doesn't expressly say that. And I think when you're trying to interpret the law, in this particular instance, I'm certainly not, a lawyer. I'll defer to legal opinion, but if that's an issue being raised, I don't know that that the wording would have to be changed drastically in order to address that, if that is in fact an issue of concern.
This is the first time this has been brought to my attention. However, it says, a minimum of 8 parking spaces shall be provided for automotive, mechanical, repair uses. I underline that. 1,000 square feet floor area. 1 additional parking space shall be provided for each additional 200 square foot or fraction thereof of net commercial floor area above 1,000 square feet.
Commercial.
I think that's what you're addressing?
Yes.
Net commercial.
All right.
commercial, yeah.
Commercial, yeah.
Yeah, what did I say?
No, you said it
did.
correctly.
Highlighting
Floor
it.
area of 1,000 square feet. I believe that does limit it to, if I were to take Mr. Eamon's example of adding a storage area to put your four-wheeler, your ski-doo, etc., adding a recreational space such as an indoor swimming pool, etc. I believe that those uses are not specifically mentioned therein. However, there's nothing wrong with ensuring that if that is council's wish, I mean, that is entirely council's wish, that language can be tightened up in order to address that issue, an interpretation. I believe it would be a stretch to interpret it that widely, despite the fact that it's a valid point. I think it would be extreme stress, because when interpreting a legal, a piece of legislation or a bylaw, as in this, a court will invariably look at the totality of the language that's being used and the totality of all of the sentences within that bylaw. And in this case, the strategy is keenly important. Again, this being the first time that I've heard this, all I did is kind of try to find the issue as that was, or the bylaw that's being amended. I didn't take a specific look at the strategy. But I am assuming the strategy does address that as well, that it's for automotive mechanical repair uses, and therefore the language could be tightened up simply to eliminate all doubt. However, I think it would be a stretch interpretatively to include those uses in there. I defer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Surratt?
I'd like to point out to council that this same issue was brought up at the PAC meeting. I was in attendance. I was taking another councillor's place who was here today. Anyhow, and this point was discussed quite in length. The points were made by Mr. Riemann, and we discussed it, to quite an extent. And the vote was taken, and we said that no, this bylaw should stand like it is, and we voted upon it, and it's been brought to council. That's what I'd like to let you know, maybe all the councillors.
Yeah.
We did vote for it, we did pass it, we heard the arguments, and
Yeah.
we all disagreed.
Thank you. Donaldson?
I was just gonna read the one of the lines that our solicitor read about the net commercial floor area, so it's already been covered. So you can turn my mic off now.
Thank you.
Any
So-
mention, I've just been scanning, I've been trying to do two things at the same time, listen to the comments, and as well scan and find, there is at the end of the third paragraph in the introductory phase of the strategy, specifically, parking requirements and setback distances from abutting property boundaries should be addressed in the home occupation requirements for automotive mechanical repair uses. So I think that, again, the court would, if that were ever challenged, and that's my role here to give you what my view would be in that regard, I believe that would have to be taken into consideration in the interpretation of that bylaw, or the amendment to that bylaw.
Thank you. Any more comments? Okay. So, for the motion,
We'll call the public hearing closed and then open.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah, call the public hearing closed.
Yeah, we only do that, look after it after.
Yeah, there's no
In the
motion
regular.
at this point, just
No.
closing the public
Yeah.
hearing. And then opening up the
Yes.
meeting.
Okay. So we'll now close the public hearing. Thank you for your input, and thank you, everybody else that had some input. Now we'll call the regular council meeting to order. Approval of agenda is the second item on the agenda. Moved and seconded to approve the agenda as circulated. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. The conflict of interest declaration, is there anybody around the table that has a conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda? If not, we'll go to the next item on the agenda, and that's the swearing-in ceremony of Councillor-elect Nicole Albright.
Did you memorize it? Okay. So ask the warden to join in the oath of allegiance. Now, you have done this before. So what we will do is we'll just have you actually, I won't repeat it. You can actually go right through it. It's here, and we'll sign it off. Is that okay by you?
Sure.
All right, so here's the oath of allegiance, and
Yeah. I, Nicole Albright, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors according to law, and that I am duly qualified, as required by law, for the office of Councillor of the Municipality of Argyle, and that I will truly, faithfully, and impartially execute the duties of the office to which I have been elected to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not received and will not receive any payment or reward or promise thereof for the exercise of any partiality or undue execution of the duties of my office.
Thank you, Councillor Nicole. Albright, you've sworn here in Tuscott in the County of Yarmouth this 14th day of May before me, the clerk. I will sign off and you will sign, and we will officially name you Councillor Albright. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay. You want to-
Just a photo op with the warden. Please do not include me in the photo op.
Where's the pen?
Already on Facebook.
Where's the pen?
Did you get? Yeah.
Very good.
Wonderful.
Endorsement from Mama. Can't beat that.
Okay. Thank you, CAO Alain, and congratulations, Nicole, from all of us.
Get a loady chair.
The next item on the agenda, presentation by Harold Richardson and Gil Ayres, the Mariner Center. You can get up to the mic there. Gil.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for the invitation to appear before you tonight. I'm here on behalf of the Mariner Center. My name's Gil Ayres. I'm the general manager. I was appointed general manager about 4 years ago, so I'm really getting my feet wet. Tonight we have, it's hard to believe it's been that long, but tonight we have a full-blown concert going on with Merle Haggard, for those country western fans that are stuck in a meeting tonight. Anyway, one of the things that when I first took over at the Mariner Center, and Harold Richardson was with me. Harold's been the board chairperson for that past 4 years as well. And so we're intimately familiar with all of the ins and outs of the Mariner Center. I can tell you that my history with the center goes back to 1995 when I attended my first Skate Yarmouth meeting, and after that became the fundraising chairperson for Skate Yarmouth. So I've been involved with this project for many, many years prior to the doors opening. So, and then after the building was built, I also served for about 8 years or 6 years, I guess, on the board of directors, on the management board. So I've seen it from 3 or 4 different perspectives, I guess. One as a volunteer, one as a board member, and now most recently as a general manager. When I took over, the previous manager had left, and one of the first things that I think we recognized collectively as a group was that you can't sell from an empty shelf. And we had a building that was beginning to show its age, beginning to fall into disrepair, and basically was servicing the skating population very well, but was missing out, I think, on the multi-purpose function that we had intended it for originally. So we looked over the past 4 years, what can we do to make changes, and what kind of building inventory do we have to accumulate? What strategic purchases or design changes can we make that would enable us to move into the future and better position the Mariner Center to be the economic engine that it's intended to be? In other words, be able to draw groups into town that leave their money here, quite honestly, such as we saw last week with the UNSM Spring Workshop. I was assured by Judy Weber, who was the coordinator for that would not have taken place in Yarmouth had it not been for the Mariner Center. So those are the kind of things that we're able to do. Tonight we have Merle Haggard in concert at the Mariner Center. One of the other things you wouldn't be able to do unless you have the proper inventory. So literally, in the last 4 years, I could start in the parking lot and move on, but literally, there have been hundreds of improvements to that structure in the past 4 years. The existing staff, myself and my facilities manager, Dave Clayton, I can tell you on behalf of the owners, we do our job very well as far as trying to keep the expenses limited. Dave and I are notorious for never paying full price for anything, and I guess we're getting that reputation in the community. But we try to nurse every single dollar we can out of that place. If you saw us in October laboring over whether or not is today the day we should start the furnace or not, because fuel consumption is significant there. Our electrical costs, for example, in a normal day in the winter are over $600 a day. And you throw in an event like the World Junior A Challenge that we had in November, and you can appreciate double the amount of usage of the building in a day, and you also increase the electrical cost significantly. Those kind of the things we can't control. Certainly so what we're trying to do is to concentrate on the consumption. How can we reduce the costs? How can we can't control the prices, but we can reduce the consumption. So we're working hard to do that. We have an application before the province and before COA at the present time for a heat recovery process that would enable us to reuse some of the heat that we just dissipate right now. We've got 2 condensers going full blast in the winter just to get rid of heat, and it seems kind of ridiculous when we can use that heat to heat the building. So that's the kind of things we're trying to do to cut back on fuel consumption. The staffing levels at the facility are not overly high. I mean, for comparable facilities in the province, it's a 2 ice pads facility with multi-purpose function. We have 6 full-time staff. We have 2 full-time seasonal staff who come on in September and usually leave us in April, and then we have the rest of the staff are either part-time or casual. But there's only 6 full-time staff for that size of that building. Our 2013 budget, I'll talk about the budget because the last 3 years we've been very careful in trying to create a budget every year. We sit down and go through the process with Jerry Varon, who's the Chief Financial Officer for the town of Yarmouth. And we've also had Greg Shea's participation from the municipality of Yarmouth, board members, our finance committee, and myself and David. And we try to create a budget that we think is going to be extremely accurate. And so we don't inflate the budget to show at the end of the year that we've done a good job and we've come in under budget. That's never been intentionally done. However, I will say the last 3 years we have come in under budget. We've been very, very fortunate to be able to keep the expenses down, and sometimes Mother Nature helps us out with that. The ice rental revenues for that facility, if we go back 5, 6, 7 years, you'll note that the ice rental revenues probably looked after about 60% of our income, our revenue stream. Those ice rentals are now down to less than 50%. And there's some reasons for that. I guess the most important reason is the declining population. I'm president of the Sports Heritage Association, and just last Saturday, a week ago Saturday, we had our Sports Heritage Banquet. We inducted a hockey team that some of the people that work in this area were on that team, and they won a provincial championship. Those players would probably be in the 28 to 30 year range right now. And it was my job to, of course, one of my tasks was to get the invitations out to them and congratulate them for their nomination or their induction. Fully out of 17 players on that team, I sent 6 letters to Alberta. So those are elite hockey players who would still be playing hockey today in the Gentlemen's League or the Commercial League. They're also the ones that are most likely to bring their kids to the arena. And 6 out of 17, so fully more than 1/3 of the players on that team have moved west for employment purposes. So that's one of the things that's affecting our ice rentals. It would be an easy fix for the board of directors to just say, okay, well, we need to have an extra $100,000 of income a year. Let's take our ice rentals and we'll add X number of dollars to an hourly ice rental, and that'll be the fix. The problem is that it's not good for our users. Minor hockey and the skating club, those kind of groups are already paying, up to upwards of $150 an hour for ice. It's significantly more than baseball players, football players, or soccer players pay for the use of the surface that they play on. So, if you go to a ball field, I don't think they're paying that much for the surface, but in a hockey arena, they have to. We do know that our rates are lower than most other facilities. Not all. There are other rinks in the province that do better than us as far as rates go, but they're heavily subsidized. We do fairly well. We're fairly competitive, but we also recognize that if we raise those rates too high, we're basically forcing clients out the door. So it's sort of a real delicate balance there. And in the years that I've been chairing or been manager there, we've increased the rates once. That's been once in the last, I'd say, 5 or 6 years probably, and we increased the rates by $10 an hour a couple of years ago. That's been the only increase that we've had. If we compare ourselves to Digby and other places, Digby is, for example, their arena falls under the recreation department, so there's not a separate budget for it, so they really can't track. Amherst, I know that they came in last year at $135,000 in deficit. That's a standalone arena. Some of the other arenas in the province, if I can give you some of the stats, but they range anywhere from 75, I guess, up to about, I've heard 790,000 was one of the annual deficits for one arena. So we're at the low end of that scale. We do very, very well. I know that we were at the municipal council meeting last week, and the municipal council recognized that they think they're getting a pretty good deal for the benefits of the Mariner Centre, for what it provides to the community, and for the attraction that it is for bringing people to town. And just as I was leaving today, there were some people from Lunenburg that came down to the concert, and they're staying overnight. So it's even a concert brings people from outside. The Mariner Centre really is, and it was intended to be from the outset, vital to the regional economic development. It's important for recruiting professionals to come to the community, because when professionals look at a community, they look at everything. They look at, not just the job opportunity, but they also look at what recreational facilities are available, educational facilities. I mean, the fact that the Yarmouth High School is an international baccalaureate program is significant for some people. It means something to them. And so we have to look at that. For tourism, it keeps some of the hotels busy during the low seasons. We saw what the Chicks with Sticks tournament, for example, and things like that bring to the fishery show this past spring, which is a biannual event. And it keeps the hotels busy during a time when they otherwise wouldn't have any visitors. It's good for the physical health of your community, but it's also good for the mental health of the community. And people look at the Mariner Centre as a place to go and have a good time. And so we want to keep that going. We've already shown that it's a really important and vital piece of the infrastructure. The World Junior A Challenge is a prime example where they're coming back for a second year, but they wouldn't have been able to come for the first year if it hadn't been for the Mariner Centre. They required, for example, we've got 10 dressing rooms that were provided to them. They couldn't have done it without 10 dressing rooms, and very few arenas have 10 dressing rooms or the capability of producing or creating 10 dressing spaces. So we know that it's an important part of the infrastructure. We know that because of the way we're designed and what we can provide, we're able to attract those kind of events. But we also recognize the need to continually make improvements to the property. And if anyone's watched the metamorphosis of the Mariner Centre over the years, you've seen it go from the original structure to an expanded structure where there's an extra end put on and an additional space. The barn was built out back. The Anthony Pavilion was built out back. Most recently, we've added an extension on the other end of the building where we've got a common meeting room on the upstairs level, and we've got heated storage space in the downstairs. We've also made significant advancements in the technology that we use in the building, and that's both our computer systems, but also we have a full-blown video production studio with 3 high-definition cameras and a state-of-the-art video screen, which is, I think for those that attended the UNSM, you may have seen some of the tourism videos that we played on that. It's pretty nice equipment. I'd like to specifically mention just quickly what we actually do for Argyle. And one of the things that we provide to the Argyle area is that we are the home arena for all of your school hockey, including your high school hockey teams. And if you walk into the arena, you'll see that the Sharks have their 4x8 sign right at the main entrance to the main arena. We provide a storage space. We have a storage room in the building that's specifically allocated to Paramba, to the boys and girls teams. We have participated with the doctor recruitment initiative for the Argyle area. by providing them with a free family membership if they were successful in recruiting a doctor. We, of course, played host to the Jeux de l'Acadie last year. I don't have any accurate figures, but I'm told, and this is anecdotal, that about 40% of our minor hockey users are actually Argyle residents. We also loan or rent equipment on a fairly frequent basis. The school plays and that sort of thing have borrowed stage and pipe and drape. In fact, we're giving a discount rate to the school next month for their prom. We're going to provide them with the 20-foot black and drapes so we can dress up the gymnasium. So we do that. We make sure that the community that we serve is looked after. And we really do know that we serve the Argyle community every bit as much as we do the municipality of Yarmouth and the town of Yarmouth. Our future is basically where we're going is we're going to concentrate on marketing. We have been 4 years coming up with a catalog or an inventory of photographs and video clips and things like that we could use to build a marketing brochure. And we have an online marketing brochure, which will be unveiled probably within the next month or so. So we'll be able to send that out, with the touch of a button, we can send that out to 600 or 700 different people and say, here, this is what we can offer you. So that's in the works, and that'll be unveiled very, very soon. We've expanded significantly on our versatility and the ability to provide for any needs that you have. So if you're having a conference, a trade show, a convention, a sporting event, a dance, a gala, any of those things, you need not shop around. We can provide everything on site. And everything we have is designed to be quick set, it's portable, it was roll out, roll in, and we can set up, we can change overnight. We went from a hospital gala just over a week or two ago to the UNSM convention last week to the concert tonight, and each of those took a different configuration of the arena as far as stage, furnishings, that sort of thing. So we do convert very quickly. Our new initiatives, we're looking into a summer bluegrass festival, trying to get into that circuit because we think we're a natural location to have a bluegrass festival. We'll also be expanding now that we have some better stage equipment and that sort of thing, and better chairs that can be used that actually gang, because that's important. We're going to be trying to focus on the concert market. We have made offers, and we think that we will probably be, someday down the road, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but we think it's a natural progression of things that eventually the Mariner Center would be the site for any replacement curling rink or even an aquatic center. We're looking very hard at trying to get a pavilion, like an outdoor pavilion, which I refer to as a pole barn, but that's not a good terminology to use when you're applying for grants. But that's basically what it would be, and it would be enable the Exhibition Association to hold all of their equestrian events outdoors without bringing dirt into the arena, which is a real issue with us. And of course, expanding parking. So the things we're looking at as next steps is, one is the cost reduction initiatives, trying to focus on those things like heat recovery and ways that we can keep the expenses down. Expanding our market, of course, by an aggressive and marketing plan and executing that. And I guess thirdly is the reason I'm here tonight, and that is to encourage the municipality of Argyle to become a funding partner. The municipality of the District of Yarmouth and the town of Yarmouth have funded our deficit. Not that it's a great big deficit, because it isn't. This year we're going to end up, I think, probably in the range of about $60,000 for the year, which is excellent when you compare us to other facilities. It's excellent when you compare us to a lot of things that, I'm a great one for recreation, a great advocate. I served in Recreation Nova Scotia for several years. I was with Baseball Yarmouth and Skate Yarmouth trying to get the rinks and the ball fields built, and so and school gymnasiums, that sort of thing. I've served in those committees, so I'm always promoting recreation at every opportunity. And so I think this is a great investment. And so I'm here to encourage you to consider participating as a funding partner in the Mariner Center as we move forward, to enable us to stabilize where we're at and to try to build up a capital fund so that if we need something that costs $10,000, we'll eventually over time be able to do that. We know that we have expanded parking, for example, is a real issue for us. We have insufficient parking for the events that we have now. we've priced out parking, and to create a parking lot there for 100 cars, a paved parking lot, is in the area of $140,000, which is money we don't have. But it just gives you an idea that that's the kind of expenses that we face. And I don't know if Harold wants to add anything, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Gil. Sure.
Thank you, Gil, for that. You certainly put your point across and some stuff that I didn't realize even. Two questions. Question one is as far as taxes. As far as taxes that the town of Yarmouth charge you, that's question one. What is the total amount? Question two, is there any revenue that could come out of charging more to the hockey team? And ticket sales there, is there revenue that you could put up, or are you there as a price right now, do you feel, or is there room to go up there? Because it's quite a demand, you know, especially when you have a team like the Mariners. You know, okay, if you could address those two questions.
I sure can. To begin with, there's no line item in our budget for municipal property taxes. We do pay for water and sewer, and that's the only bill that we have to the town of Yarmouth. But we also do pay them, I shouldn't say the only bill, we pay $5,000 a year, which is a completely nominal fee for our accounting. So all of the accounting is done by the town of Yarmouth on our behalf. So at $5,000, we're getting boy, I'll tell you, that's a sweetheart deal for us. Those are the only charges that the town imposes on us.
No taxes on the property.
No tax on the property whatsoever, no. And to answer your second question, one of the things we've just recently purchased, in fact, it'll be set up by the end of June, I hope, is an online ticketing system. So the online ticketing system will allow people to log on and purchase a ticket from away. It's going to have a fee attached to it, of course. You know, it's going to have a convenience fee. But if you're in Pubnico, it's a lot easier to buy a ticket online than it is to drive to Yarmouth and stand and hope to get there by 4:30 before the box office closes. So what we recognize is that we have to move forward. The thing about the ticket fees is that it will also enable us to charge some ticketing back to some of our clients. So if we have a concert, for example, we'll be charging a ticket fee on top of the rental fee. So that is an expanded income that we're looking at. Trust me, we look at everything we can possibly do to increase revenues there, and you know, that's an ongoing process for us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gil.
Okay.
Good. I'm sure we will be discussing this
Okay, thank you so much. Night.
during our budget deliberation. Harold, see Harold. Yeah. Next item, adoption of minutes. The 133rd Annual Council Meeting of April the 9th.
So moved.
It's moved and seconded to approve the minutes of April the 9th. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Committee of the Whole of April the 30th.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next is business arising from the minutes. One of them that we have mentioned here is boundary review. We have some information here. The staff has been working on that, and we don't have all the districts or all the numbers set out yet, or the maps. So population data and mapping for 5, 6, and 9 districts have been sent to council. The information for 7 districts is currently being finalized and will be sent to council as soon as completed. So I guess we won't be, just for information, we won't be doing anything more with that until we have all the information on all the numbers.
That's right, Mr. Warden, and if there's anyone that, I know that there's some people that had some problems opening it and that have since resolved those problems, but if you still have problems opening the document, let me know, and we can quickly print them and provide a copy. for you. But that was just to give you an idea. Certainly, that's not anything final by any means. That needs to be developed by council, but just gives you an idea of what it may look like under different scenarios.
Yeah. Okay. Next item, Warden's report. Now I've had a chance to read it. You had 3 or 4 hours to spare. Some highlights. I'd like to add that yesterday I attended the Lieutenant Governor's Medals Award at the Paromba School. It was done here in Paromba for the CSAP, for the whole province. And they usually travel around something. It could be in Cape Breton one year, and yeah. And our École de Paromba recipients were Rachel Alicia Surette and from Pubnico, and Brandon Doucette from Wedgeport. And Brandon was not available, wasn't able to be there because he's at a science fair in Lethbridge, Alberta. So it tells you something about, you know. So it was interesting, and talking to Peter Crowell this afternoon, and he told me that the Lieutenant Governor stopped in and visited the archives this morning in our old courthouse. So he kept him in the area for an extra day, somehow. Have any questions on the report or comments? If not, we'll go to Councillor's report. Anybody have a report? Danny Muse, Councillor Muse.
Yes, I've had a couple of calls regarding unsightly premises. One of them is, I think we've dealt that, or it's been brought to the attention of council before, and it's, I guess I can give, this is public, but we can give the location of where these are here at this meeting.
Oh, yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
if you have ownership information, I would not disclose that, but civic address or
The civic address,
or location.
not sure, but I can, the location is
Yeah.
is on Highway 3
Yeah,
in St. Andrews, so,
Yeah.
which is,
near Aprons River on the
yes.
corner.
Yeah, exactly, that's right.
Yes.
To me too, twice.
Yes, and they were quite concerned that, you know, wondering where this was going, and that it's been like that for quite a while now. And I had another one this afternoon, and this one here is in East Kemp. And what it is, it's an old barn that has collapsed. And apparently there's 3 on that road, but this one here is the one that they called about. They feel that it's not just an unsightly premise, but it's also probably a hazard if
Safety issue.
Safety issue at this point, and they feel that the other 2, which could also be looked at. Now, I have the civic address for one of them. I don't have civic addresses for the other. And one of them, the one that I'm referring to right now, the barn itself doesn't have a civic. It's on a separate piece of property from the residence, but it's directly across from civic address 2396, Highway 203.
There must be a number attached to the property, but it's not posted.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, exactly. They wouldn't have posted that
No.
at that property.
Yeah.
Just wanted to bring that to the council's attention, and where we go from here, I guess at least it's been brought to the attention, then we'll have to go to Public Works to see if they can deal with it. And like I said, this is one, but apparently there's 2 more just down the road that are the same. These old
Yeah.
barns that just collapsed, and they feel that something should be done.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Councillor Burke.
Yeah, last week I attended the Nova Scotia Planning Directors Association at the Lord Nelson, and it was very interesting. Just to give you an example, they talked about Moncton. Moncton was decreasing in their development and all that, and they brought in a planner, and he is something else. Anyway, it's just to say that you can do things if you plan well, from declining, just in our area, it's declining, maybe there's things that we can do. So it was just an example. It was good information that I got from this conference. There was other things from Lunenburg, businesses that are open that I didn't even know about. And I won't go into detail, but I'll pass on to my colleagues information if they want it. So it was a very good conference, and I do, if there's another one, I do, anybody that's on the PAC committee, I recommend that they do attend this conference. That's all I have to say today.
Thank you. Councillor Surratt.
Just a couple of small things. We had a meeting with the planning committee for the Fireman's Banquet, and I can tell all the councillors that it will be August the 11th, and just in case you don't know, you'll be serving the firemen, all the volunteer firemen. We're hoping you'll volunteer to dish out the food and help in any way we can. After all, the firemen do a lot for the municipality of Argyle. They're all volunteers. We're expecting roughly 350. There's about 450 firemen and their spouses. If we put them all together, we're expecting, like I said, roughly 300 or so. We will be having pig roast. Pig roast, and there'll be rapi pie, and anyhow, we're discussing for people parking, but we're hoping that all the councillors can help out, and we'll be serving them for once. They serve the municipality year round. Well, if we could be there, anyhow, you'll be given a letter and asked to try to help, and anyhow, we'll be meeting in our budget of 3,000 for sure. That's what we've been allocated. So anyhow, just keep that in mind. Just want to fill you in on it.
Thank you. I may have missed that. What's the location, did you say?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
I'm not sure.
Farmers Market.
Oh, here.
Oh, here.
Yes,
Farmers Market.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Donaldson?
Just to report that on the keel, there's some positive news. There was 3 contractors presented proposals. 2 of them come in on budget. One was a little high. The two are being looked at now to see if they met all the requirements. So within a week to 10 days, we should be moving forward onto that, see which direction we're going in. And something a little closer to home, we had a fundraiser for the Baptist Festival in Argyle, which I was the auctioneer at the festival, and we raised $6,600 on a bake sale auction, so we should have the best fireworks show again this year in the county. So, but I would like to think the auctioneer had a lot to do with that.
I'm sure he did, yeah. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Anyhow, that's it.
Thank you. Councillor Albright?
I just wanted to mention, I continued to stay on the Recreation Commission during the time I was not councillor. And I just wanted to mention one of the projects that they're working on, because it's a positive project and I can't wait for it to start. They're going to be growing a community garden at Echo Belleville. There has been funding that has been given, and it goes hand in hand with the outcomes, with the learning outcomes at the grade 3 level. So the grade 3 class will be, that's kind of the plan. They're going to be helping grow vegetables. And then during the summer, my husband and I have kind of volunteered to help out, kind of take care of the garden, because we live next to the school. And in the fall, they're hoping to have a community meal with what the kids have grown. And I think that's really exciting.
That's a great idea, yeah.
Really good. And I also attended the VON walkathon with Aldrich on
That's right.
Saturday. Although it's in Yarmouth, it serves a lot of our clients here in Argyle as well. And it's a really good cause. Good turnout too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just asking your sister how much they raised, but she
I
didn't
think
know.
over 6,000, I
Yeah,
thought.
is that
Yeah,
right?
I thought.
Yeah, good, yeah. Thank you. Councillor LeBlanc?
Just one quick thing. A few days ago, CEO Muse and myself, we attended a small meeting between the prospective partners for the REN I guess, one is it? We are?
Yeah.
Either way,
Yes.
whatever number it is. Just a small meeting. We haven't gotten to our deadline yet of who's in or who's out. But we had a meeting between the proposed partners just to kind of get a feel of how everyone felt, whether they were in or whether they were out. And I mean, like I said, no one said for certainty yet, but there was a lot of positive outlook on it. It's we all said it ourselves when we all became councillors, either new ones or old ones again in October, that the economy was one of our number one priorities. So it was kind of nice to see everyone in the other municipalities kind of on the same basis as us. So seemed to be some excitement there. So hopefully it's a positive thing to get into. And nothing was I guess accomplished at the meeting. It was just our first initial meeting. To kind of see how everyone felt and how everyone felt it would work, and it was a productive meeting.
Thank you. We'll now go on to CAO's report.
I always get a ribbing for the CEO's report before I even say anything.
Let's go number 10.
It's incredible.
Other business.
I always get that feeling. I'll start by saying, are there any questions on this report? Some of it has been addressed by some of the councillors that have attended the same meetings as I have. So I'll start by asking if there are any questions, or if there's any particular place that you'd like me to focus.
Questions or comments?
Well, the comments come before I even start saying the report.
The last phrase in page 14.
Yeah. 14 of 14.
14 of
You can see there's a lot going on in.
Do you have anything you want to highlight, or?
Some of it is on the agenda, either
Yeah.
on this meeting or a future meeting,
Yeah.
depending on our time frame.
Yeah.
I guess I wanted to just note that, we've sworn in Councillor Albright. In that election, the representation or turnout was 90%. 90%.
Yeah.
Not 9. 90. So you want to talk about a community engaged in government?
Yeah.
Look no further. That's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yes, it is. Oh.
So used to not having it working.
Yes, sir. Councillor Donaldson.
Yes, in your report, I'd like to point out that on Monday, May 27th, we will be inviting the public to join us to see all the new changes made to the Glenwood Park and the
Yes.
non-motorized boat and access
Yeah.
and swimming area. And so, anybody interested coming out on Monday, May the 27th? Brenda, I believe Brenda's planning that.
Yes.
So sure notices will be going out.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Richard.
I'm so
Kathy's in Kissimmee.
Kathy? Work?
Um,
Councillor Work?
I don't see it anywhere, but I don't know if it was supposed to be in your report. But anyway, the Waste Management has an app that's out. And I was in Halifax when I saw the announcement, and I showed it to some fellow councillors in Antigonish, and they were amazed with the app. And I downloaded the app, it's free. And you can ask questions where this goes and where that goes and when's garbage pickup, and I think it's a it's a cute little app, and it's resourceful, and
pretty neat.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a neat app, and they thought it was a good idea, and I gave them the information to contact Waste Management.
And that's the My Waste app.
Yeah.
My Waste. So for those of you who have iPads, I don't know that it works on, is it BlackBerry as well?
Well, I got it on my iPhone.
Okay.
Deputy Clerk Fraughton sincerely doubts that it's on the BlackBerry, but that's a long-standing argument that we have, but it's definitely on the iPad, on the iPhone, sorry.
Everything's on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. We go on to other business and for decision, council.
If I may interject, I have a question and I'm way out of order, but it's a procedural issue. The issue of the amendment to the municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw that was discussed at the public hearing, I don't see it on the agenda. Was it inserted there that I didn't see it, or are you considering not discussing it tonight?
It ought to be discussed tonight, to me would be under other business. Typically what we do is when we approve the agenda, we add it on, but
Yeah.
we neglected to do that at the time the agenda was approved.
That's right.
Just wanted to bring that to
Thank
your
you.
attention if you wanted to
Yeah,
discuss it.
in case we forgot
Correct, in case
collectively.
you forgot,
Every
because
city-
you'll have to put it off to the next council meeting in June.
Thank you, thank you.
You may have to.
I was out of order and I apologize.
Thank you.
Running okay.
Council priorities. Alain, you want to
Uh,
speak to that? I think?
Yes, we're trying,
Objectives.
we started working on this, of course, you all know, you've been engaged in this process, and we had an initial meeting, and I don't know that we got all the way through. However, that meeting brought us to where we are today. And what you have attached to the agenda is 6 items that the council collectively, in terms of the way that we kind of scored them, would be the higher priority areas. The higher priority areas that you've identified were number 1, economic development, number 2, medical services, number 3, transportation, number 4, tourism, and number 5, recreation, and then there was a number 6 being the sustainable capital projects. So inside of these priorities, however, is a variety of objectives that that inside each of those priorities. So economic development is a bit of a high-level priority. Inside that, you have certain objectives that you may wish to achieve inside economic development. So what we have done here is listed as examples some of the objectives that fell under that topic, okay? To try to drill down exactly what council would like staff to work on in the next 12 to 14 months. Because economic development, it could be, it's wide, right? But what we want to do is perhaps put another layer of focus for council to consider to give us further direction in terms, so that we are assured that we work for what you believe is most important. So inside of those objectives, we have identified, for example, in economic development, Tuscan Industrial Park marketing or development, the REN, Argyle Economic Development Plan, which is still not finalized, but you've all received a draft, medical services, etc. So inside of those, you see specific objectives inside each of those topics. What I think Chris Frotton and I discussed how the best way to approach this might be. I think in terms of because this really hasn't been discussed in the way that we have it prepared here, we're really just presenting this to you now in this fashion, although the discussion is not new. One of the things that we thought might work well is a dotmocracy. I don't know that you've all heard of that. What dotmocracy is essentially a dot or 3 dots in this case, that we would give you. They'd each have the same power in terms of vote. And what you would do is take a look at these objectives and say, okay, which 3 to you resonate as most important? And so the 9 councillors, gotta get used to saying 9 again, each have 3 dots that they can allocate amongst these projects. And so each of you can engage in a discussion and then place your dots. And we can do that actually electronically through SurveyMonkey. So we can actually create a survey and say, okay, out of all of these priorities, which 3 resonate the most for you? So then we gather that information, and then what it does is it takes your individual responses and adds them up. And so it shows us what the focus might be, generally speaking. And then we can take that particular information and then give you a final priorities listing for you to debate, change, approve, and then we're done. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to introduce that idea to you here today, and I guess get your input in terms of how you think that might work. And what we're trying to do is not deny the debate, but it's difficult for us to give you top 3 or top 5 without some sort of dotmocracy or some sort of way for you to look at these and say, okay, these are the 3 that are really important. Like if I had to pick 3 for the next 12 months, these are the 3. So I defer to council to I guess give us direction on that in order for us to be able to do this for you as efficiently as possible.
Councillor Surratt.
I guess it's kind of a surprise to me, but nothing wrong with what you said, but I thought when we sat down, we had a full list of green, yellow, whatever. So I thought at that time, when we came up with the 6 items, that was what you would be focusing on. That was my understanding after that meeting we had. But you feel, or whatever staff feels, that maybe we should bring it down even less than that. That's what you're stating with this dotmocracy or monkey or whatever. You know, whatever it's called.
Dot monkey.
Dot monkey or whatever.
Well, what he's saying is that we have the six high priority things, but within those there's objectives. What they like is, you know, there's 3 objectives in economic development. Are they all equal? Is there one of them that's more important, or that's what I gather?
Yes, because economic
What's the
development,
objective?
so we could say, you know, council, we worked on economic development this year. And you could come back and say, well, we wanted you to work on Argyle Economic Development Plan, but you worked on Wren. Right? I mean, I'm just saying, expressing that as an example of something that we don't want that to happen. We want to be lined up with you so that what you think is important, that's what we're working
I
on.
thought you meant, let's put one monkey there, or whatever you call it, the dot. I'm getting all balled up. One monkey there on the, or dot, I should say, on economic development, and one on
No, no.
transportation, and
No.
one on recreation. No,
It
you go
was-
to the right side.
On the objectives on
I'm
the
sorry.
right-hand side of your document.
You see, transportation is an easy one.
Yeah. Thank you. You've cleared it up.
You
I was,
want them to work more
Thank you.
on the airport, or ferry, or public transportation, or sidewalks,
thank you.
or,
We'll give
you
you a
know.
bunch of bananas.
Yeah, I give you a bunch of bananas.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for straightening that up for me. Sorry.
Okay, so what do we want to do? Do we want to do it, can we do it online, you say, and like a survey that we can fill?
The survey, actually, I think Chris has sent an email link already, if that's what you wish to do. You can actually fill it out electronically, and then what it gives us is instant information and reporting, so we can show you exactly
Yes.
what you selected. Now, I just want to make something very clear. Just because they're the top 3 doesn't mean the others don't get
Yeah,
dealt with.
Yeah.
It basically, it is what we are absolutely going to work on in the next 12 months. Yes, what we would do is, what we'd like to see council do as a, and this is not something, what we're doing now is different than what we have ever done. So for those of you that are new, it's new. The strategic plan is an overriding multi-year document that gives us objectives to achieve. But inside, and there are certain initiatives that we have to do in certain periods of time. But every year, what we'd like to do is ensure that council is still, that we're still engaged in what council wants us to work on as a #1 priority. Without that information, we might make decisions that are inconsistent with this group, because there's so many things.
yeah.
So we just want to be very sure that we're representing you when we're prioritizing. So this process has kind of morphed over time, but I expect this process to be annual, and I actually expect it to be done earlier next year, after we've refined, you know, the process, and in a non-election year, elections year, it might actually work better in January, February in anticipation of the budget. So that's would be
Okay.
an annual.
So I think we go that way, right? Go to online survey and,
Yeah,
And-
I was just gonna agree, yep.
Okay.
and
then we can.
respond to it soon.
So,
Don't wait for.
Yeah, we'd love to get the responses by Thursday or by tomorrow or whatever, but we don't want to rush you, but we want you to hurry up. Because we do want those priorities to be reflected in the budget. Now, we've already had a lot of discussions around priorities, so we already have certain things in the budget to reflect this.
Yeah.
But we just want to be sure that we got it right.
Okay.
just to be sure, okay, Dennis Point Sewer Extension, just for an example. I mean, that's already, we've got funding for that. So, you know, as far as I'm concerned, then that one, it's an ongoing thing. Why not put your dot into somebody, because that's already ongoing.
I would agree with that.
You know, wouldn't that be, okay,
Like
Yeah.
the Wedgeport one.
very good.
Exactly.
Good point.
That's not an
Some of those are already,
Yeah, if
they're
you,
work in progress.
if you feel like they're gonna happen, whether you put a red dot next to it or not, then don't put a red dot next to it,
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It's
But
redundant.
okay, and so we'll just make sure that we have the resources necessary in order to make it happen. That's
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Next item, strategic plan. It's only for your reading pleasure, I guess. I'm sure you've read it already, but I don't think there's anything, it's just there until,
It's there until you're ready to make a motion, or, like, I didn't wanna impose a motion on council. It's Nicole's first day on the job, Councillor Albright's first day. So I think what I'd like for you to, this is a very important document. It's going to drive us for multi-years, and it was a priority for some of the councillors here expressed when they were first elected. It's here, the time is now. It is here, it is done as far as we are concerned. We would like your input. If you're comfortable with the document, when you're comfortable, if you want to debate it before, by all means. What I'm going to do is leave it on the agenda until it gets approved or modified to then eventually be approved.
yeah. Yes, Muse?
I thought that had already been approved. I was under the impression that that strategic plan had been approved before we were elected, before
It was
the other
done
election.
before.
Pardon me?
It was approved in draft.
In
It was a
draft.
draft. In order to engage in certain initiatives, we did a draft approval, but then we didn't have the vision and mission completed, and we didn't have other elements of the plan completed.
Which had to be part of this in
Yeah.
order for
So
it to
the
become
full
a
document
full
and the
document.
official release and, you know, the kind of thing that you'd like to do with a strategic plan, which is celebrate, you know, what the focus that the
Exactly.
council is trying to accomplish, has not yet been done officially.
Okay.
So the earlier the better. It's been a
I don't
long-standing
know if
thing.
council is ready to approve it tonight, or,
Personally, I like it.
Matt?
Personally, I like it.
I agree with Councillor Long, it's a very,
It's well done.
very well done. I would be prepared, but, oh, you looked over it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what I was
Councillor
gonna ask.
Albright hasn't, Councillor Albright hasn't missed a meeting,
Oh,
Yeah. and forever, yes.
I'll move we approve the,
Strategic plan.
yeah, the strategic plan as it is presented today.
I'll second that.
Any more questions or comments or discussions?
One
Yes.
very, I'm sorry, I can't help myself, it's like, it's a sickness. The vision, when we first, it's just, I don't like to make a change and you not be aware. I received some feedback on the vision, and there is a sentence that I have biffed out, okay? And so there's a reason, because actually that sentence is very closely aligned to a business and what they, and how they express themselves as a business, and I don't know that we want to compete with a statement of that sort in business, and we don't want confusion. So there is a piece of the sentence referring to that lives where rivers meet the sea, that we can either replace or just simply eliminate, because we have other references to the sea in the vision. So
Just eliminate all
from
of it.
staff's perspective, we thought elimination actually
Yeah.
simplifies
Yeah.
the document, and we felt that that was the best thing to do. And I thank the councillor for pointing that out. So again, that's why it was biffed in red in the document. Obviously, the final that will be gone.
Yes, okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Correspondence. Oh, no, we have the public hearing
Yeah,
to deal with.
I'd like to make that motion to pass that municipal planning strategy and land use bylaw regarding automotive mechanical repair use uses in rural centers and home occupations.
Thank you. Have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Burke. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next one is a ceremony invitation, Maple Grove, Yarmouth High School Memorial Club. I think I responded already. I won't be available. No? June the 1st. No, I'll be around. I probably will be, but anyway, just for your information, anybody who wants to participate, it's always a very, very touching presentation usually. It's very nice. Notice of motion for future meeting, none. Question period? No. Adjournment is in order.
Second.
Thank you. That's the first meeting.
Sorry, we're busy.